2 days. Today's count is yet to come. 75 country representations, 25 international ministerial delegations, 50 plenary and technical sessions, 150 speakers, of which 50 were international speakers, historic first assembly of the International Solar Alliance, 9 country sessions, 8 Indian states sessions, 13 state pavilions at the expo, over 150 exhibiting companies, and about 580 B2B and bilateral meetings. So that's in short the sum and substance of the 3-day event. So I welcome all of you to this valedictory session. I'll request Secretary MNRE, Shri Anand Kumar, to give a welcome address. We'd like, before we have the welcome address, we'd like to welcome our guest by a token of potted plants. May I request the organizers to get the plants? I request Secretary to do the honors for Excellency, Minister of Energy and Mines, Peru. I request for Mr. Piyush Goyal. At his time, the first RE Invest took place, and the planning, actual planning for the second RE Invest started in his time. May I request for Mr. R.K. Singh, Honorable Minister. Request the gift for Professor Weber. Thank you, sir. And also,
Honorable Minister for Railways, Government of India, Shri Piyush Goyal ji, Honorable Minister for New and Renewable Energy and Power, Shri R.K. Singh ji, Honorable Minister for Energy and Mines, Government of Peru, His Excellency Francisco Emodes Mozano. I hope it's right. Pardon me from if I had done any mistake. My very dear friend, Professor Dr. A.K.R. Weber, Director of Fraunhofer Institute, Germany. Distinguished speakers, delegates from India and abroad, representatives from various ministries of Government of India, state governments, friends from media, ladies and gentlemen. I welcome you all at this valedictory session of the concurrent organization of 3 events. The first assembly of International Solar Alliance, the second meeting of Indian Ocean Rim Association Energy Ministers, and second, Global RE Invest. These events brought together over 20,000 delegates, including representatives from over 77 countries. Of these, over 35 were at the ministerial level. The event included 50 plenary and technical sessions with over 150 speakers, including 55 international speakers who shared their perspectives on various aspects of renewable energy. These apart, in exhibition, over 150 companies exhibited their strides. Over the past 4 days, this august gathering have shared experiences and discussed a wide range of topics on various aspects of renewable energy technologies, policies, programs, and prospects for furthering cooperation. I welcome our honored guest, Honorable Minister for Railways, Shri Piyush Goyal ji. We always consider him part of us. Under his guidance, first RE Invest was held in February 2015. Our efforts are continue the work initiated by you, sir. So thanks for being here today. You have always been supportive of our endeavors and spearheading a massive renewable energy program in railways. We look forward to your continued guidance and support. So thank you once again, sir. I said thank you once again for coming and joining us. It was possible to organize these events only with the motivating and inspirational guidance from Shri R.K. Singh, Honorable Minister for New and Renewable Energy and Power. Sir, your guidance has always been a source of inspiration to our ministry. I thank you for deep interest, commitment, and continued guidance for spearheading renewable energy revolution in India. Sir, under your leadership, India has leapfrogged in the renewable energy sector and has already started touching lives of millions in many ways, even the remotest part of the country. You have guided us in each and every step. Sir, our sincere gratitude for your inspiring leadership. Friends, on my personal behalf and on behalf of everyone present here, we would like to extend a very warm welcome to His Excellency, Mr. Francisco Espondes Mezano, the Honorable Minister for Energy and Mines, Peru, who had very kindly agreed to be present here in this event, and also he has agreed to organize a similar event in Peru shortly. Sir, thank you very much for joining us. When I contacted Professor Weber, Director of Fraunhofer Institute, and requested him to be present during the valedictory function, the only thing I could say, oh yes, I shall be there. You don't have to worry. And that's his fondness for India, and that's his fondness for all of us. Professor Weber, thank you very much for joining us this evening. Thank you. We have witnessed a successful and historic first assembly of ISA. This was path-breaking in much way. We are proudly hosting the first international intergovernmental organization headquartered in India. India resolution to expand ISA beyond tropics has been accepted, and that's a big achievement. Now we are not only bound by the tropics, We are all going by the beyond the tropics, as has been the vision of our Honorable Prime Minister, Mr. Narendra Modi, as was announced during the inaugural session. So we are grateful to all ministerial delegations who participated in ISA for accepting the resolution of India to expand ISA beyond the tropics. So we are grateful to all member nations. ISA has now unfolded its wings and set to work on global solar agenda. Second IRA Energy Ministers meet was successful in furthering the regional cooperation in renewables. With IRA entering into partnership with the ISA and IRENA, additional windows of cooperation have been opened. An action agenda has emerged from the event. Honorable Prime Minister's vision on the role of solar energy in the future and launching of National Energy Storage Mission has already set the task. He is declaring India the most favored investment destination in renewables clearly sets the tone for renewable energy development and deployment in future. Technology costs have plummeted over the past few years. Countries across the world are deploying larger shares of renewable energy. India has accelerated towards even larger global renewable energy market as the scale of ambition takes us to the next frontier for reducing technology cost through the scale. India's renewable energy sector is consistent with its ambition as we plan to set up a renewable energy capacity of 175 gigawatt by 2022 and over 500 gigawatt of capacity by the year 2030. The journey has now entered into a new phase. The building blocks of a gateway for India are already in place, an ambitious target, strong political commitment at the federal and state level, supported by real political action and a strong manufacturing base. I invite you all to join us in a journey that is transformational in terms of sustaining growth of India's economy for providing employment, income and prosperity. Industry has always been partner in our endeavor. The investment at the scale will be driver of innovation and reduction in cost across the world. Renewable energy transition has already started. Key is as to how quickly we move and strive for change. I invite all of you to join hands and support growth of renewables by developing businesses for speedy deployment, contributing research and development, innovation, and also setting up manufacturing base in the country. Friends, let's work towards the vision of our Honorable Prime Minister of India. He has said, one world, one sun, one grid. Let's be together in this mission of renewables, and let's provide the universal energy access at affordable rates to all the citizens of the world. I welcome you once again. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Persistent efforts of the Government of India, the state governments, and the other entities relating to renewable energy towards encouragement of all kinds of renewable energy has not gone waste. Today, at MNRE, we keep getting large number of requests from all different kinds of people, be it a layman, a simple household, or a large industrialist who wants to set up a big solar plant or a wind turbine, about what is the resource availability at a particular site. In this connection, National Institute of Wind Energy, the autonomous body which is providing technical support to the ministry and to the entire country, has come out with an application called Swa Urja. Here S stands for sun and W for wind. So this application provides all data relating to either solar energy at the location of his choice or the wind energy characteristics at the place he wants. This is an application for which at 3 kilometer by 3 kilometer grid, so fairly micro level data can be segregated. It is based on ground measurement of more than 1800 wind masts and 125 solar stations. Any citizen, businessman, investor can get all data relating to energy from this app. Now I'll request organizers to show a small film, 1-minute film on this application, and we take this opportunity to launch this app. This app will be available free of cost.
The Surja mobile app developed by National Institute of Wind Energy, Chennai under MNRE is a green energy tool which provides information to the user on the wind and solar resource data of any given location, including rooftop across the country. The app uses ground-measured and validated satellite data from the largest data source built over a period of more than 2 decades. App provides important information in simple understandable terms for selected site or location through Google Map with easy navigation. The useful informations for general public like installable wind and solar capacity, energy generation and financial savings, reduction in carbon emission for any desired location can be accessed through the app. Surja app is now available for download in the Google Play Store and Apple App Store.
Thank you so much for the encouragement. I believe this will be extremely useful app for all citizens. On 2nd of October, that's the day on which the inauguration of this event was done, about 5,700 students from over 120 schools participated in learning and making their own solar lamp. In evening, all of them gathered to lit the lamp which they had assembled at IIT Mumbai. This event was recognized by Guinness, and the Guinness World Record certificate was received jointly by IIT Mumbai and the Ministry, MNRE. I'll request Professor Solanki to come at the dais and share the certificate with Honorable Minister. I'll request Professor to tell us something about the event.
So if you can play the movie, please. So I'll just give a brief background about what happened. But before I start, it is really my pleasure that Honorable Minister Piyush Goyalji, when he came to IIT Bombay on 2nd of July 2016, and he really appreciated this small device, which, as per the Dr. Anil Kakodkar, who was there at the 2nd October in IIT Delhi in this Guinness World Record, he actually compared. First of all, we kept this program on 2nd October because we wanted to make the student as a solar ambassador, so that in the context of the climate change, the young population is the one who is going to bear the burden most. And therefore, they are the one who should come forward and take a role on themselves. 2nd October is also International Non-Violence Day, and we thought what could be the better day than to take a pledge for the non-violence to the environment. So all those 1.25 lakh students all over the country has also taken a pledge for the non-violence to the environment. So I just wanted to mention that Dr. Kakodkar was the chief guest on the 2nd October, and he said in every time something we need to do drastically, there is always a instrument which becomes a symbol of change. And in the time of Gandhi is when the 2nd October, the charkha was a symbol of change. And he mentioned that, probably this lamp could be that symbol of change in the current time when you have to really lead this process on the climate. So both the minister, earlier Piyush is supported, and the Honorable Minister saying thank you very much for supporting it. And we would really like to take it forward so that not only in India, but across the ISA nations also, this lamp could be one of the fundamental on which we can really build on and create a self-reliant energy solution, which is what the Mahatma Gandhi used to always talk about. So once again, thank you very much. This program has happened in more than 850 schools all over the country. Every state has contributed into that. And together we actually collaborated with Niti Aayog and the National Atal Tinkering Labs, IEEE, Navodaya School. So many people have participated, and it was a tremendous effort and dedication from the SOLS team. And I wish that I would be able to kind of repay that commitment and dedication for the solar lamp with the interest back to the society. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Professor Solanki. When the regime changed in wind sector from feed-in tariff to bidding route, a lot of people raised many doubts about its sustainability. I think today's event will erase at least some of their doubts. The sector adds a new feather in the cap with first full commissioning of an ISTS connected wind power project. The 250 megawatt capacity project is owned by Messrs. Green Infrastructure Renewable Energy, an SPV incorporated by a consortium of Sembcorp, Green Infra, and Suzlon Group, and was awarded by SECI under the first ever reverse bidding, followed by e-auction conducted for the wind sector in India. It is significant to note that the auction had resulted in the discovery of a record low tariff of Rs 3.46. The project, located in Chandragiri village of Tamil Nadu, is the first project to achieve full commissioning from amongst all SECI wind projects up to date, and that too within the scheduled commissioning deadlines. Suzlon is the OEM partner for the project and has supplied 119 turbines of 2.1 megawatt capacity. Situated in Tamil Nadu, this wind farm will help the states of Bihar, Delhi, Jharkhand, and UP to meet their renewable energy commitments. The project, spread across 252 square kilometers, has resulted in a job creation of more than 1,000 jobs during its construction phase, and it has potential to light up around 2 lakh households. This project will have environment benefits of saving around 5 lakh tons of coal and 7 lakh tons of carbon dioxide emissions every year. I request all the dignitaries on the dais to go to the floor to do the curtains and inaugurate the event. I also invite Mr. Vipul Tuli, CEO of Sembcorp, and Mr. Chalsani, Global CEO of Suzlon Energy, to do the honors. Thank you, sir. To give a fillip to the sector, startup plays extremely important role. Videos of the wind. Please, may I have the videos of the wind plant? Thank you, sir. To give a fillip to the sector, the importance of startup is extremely important. Important. The ministry, sometimes in February, started a concept of identifying the best startups and appropriately rewarding them. The ministry received more than 1,000 applications, and these applicants underwent extreme evaluation process by the ministry, by IIM Ahmedabad CIA, Yes Bank and NESCOM team. And the five finalists, some of them will be incubated, are here. So we'll felicitate them. I'll briefly tell about them and what they did. The fifth one is Durshatha Analytics. Durshatha developed Ilumix intelligent solution for solar microgrids. Let's give a big hand to Durshatha, please. Then we have, or can we have Mr. Amitabh Singhal from Durshatha Analytics, please? And I'll request Honorable Minister, Mr. Piyush Goyal, to The next was Play Solar, which provided affordable solar energy applications. May I request Mr. Mukandan from Play Solar to come on the dais and receive the award. Mr. R.K. Singh, Honorable Minister. Yeah, Mr. Singh. Yeah. The next in the line of our brilliant startup entrepreneurs is Onergy Solar. Onergy is a complete solar solution provider across irrigation, rooftop, and lighting. May I request Emma Paul from Onergy Solar to come on the dais, and request His Excellency Francisco Mazzano, Minister of Energy and Mines, Peru, to do the honors. The runner-up is Algo Engines. The runner-up is Algo Engines. Algo helps wind and solar asset owners to enhance their generation. I'll request Chetan from Algo Engines to come on the dais and request Mr. Singh to do the honors. The winner of the RE Startup Award is Urvu Labs. Urvu Labs gave solar technology that converts water from thin air. Now may I request Swapnil Srivastava to come on the dais and tell very briefly how do you create water from thin air.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you for the opportunity. So we have developed a completely off-grid solar device, which is based on a hygroscopic material which absorbs drinking water from air, and it uses solar thermal energy to release it back and condense it. So it's a completely decentralized solution, and we are one of the most efficient technologies which is out there currently in this space. We are also one of the finalists of the Water Abundance X Prize, which is happening globally right now. So this technology, wherever you have an infrastructure gap and wherever you have issues where water is highly contaminated or groundwater is receding, this technology could be deployed at scale. So we are also calling it an aqua panel. So it's a modular and scalable technology. So you can even generate water for a household, or it could be coupled up and multiple units could be put together to generate drinking water even for communities. So that's what we are doing. Thank you.
Wonderful, Swapnil. May I request Honorable Sri Singh and Mr. Goyal, both boys done wonderfully well, to do the honors, please. Professor Dr. Eike Weber is a director from Fraunhofer Institute and is also Vice President of International Solar Energy Society. As an academician, he's keenly observed the development of India's RE sector. I request him to address the audience about the RE Invest and the two-day event.
Dear distinguished guests and ministers and all audience, it is a very big pleasure for me to be here today, and especially at the conclusion of these very successful 3 days. And I was extremely pleased and impressed when Prime Minister Modi not only presented the goals for further PV increase in India, which actually I personally would not call ambitious goals, but realistic goals, given the need for renewable energies. But I was as well extremely pleased about the vision which Prime Minister Modi set out in saying, down the road, we will have the worldwide supergrid, where we connect the whole world with high power DC power lines so that we can harvest solar and wind energy wherever we can harvest it and bring it to consumers where we need it. And I think this is really a very ambitious, realistic, and exciting vision. As a matter of fact, in Germany today, we already have 40% of our electric power from renewables. And most of the renewables are fluctuating, solar and wind. But simultaneously, it turns out that the German electricity supply is now more stable than it was 10 years ago when the fraction of renewables was just 5–6%. And the reason for this is really that the grid, which was designed to take care for the fluctuating renewables, is now a much better grid, a more intelligent grid, a smart grid, and therefore the message is, let's be ambitious. Let's not only go for 5 or 10% renewables, let's go for 40, 60, 80% renewables in the electricity grid and down the road in the total energy supply. It's possible, it's cost effective, and of course, and now comes a point which was not mentioned so much during the conference, it is really of critical importance for the globe, because the next decade, till 2030, will decide whether the introduction of renewables and the reduction of CO2 emissions will be done quickly enough to be able to avoid the most horrible consequences of climate change. Climate change is one of the two pillars of why we make the energy transformation process. And actually, the climate change was the first pillar because we recognized the danger of catastrophic change of the world climate. And to be very honest, we are not yet sure that we will be fast enough. But we have one very powerful support, and this powerful support is that we managed to bring down the cost of renewable power so much that it's not only for ecological reasons the right thing to do, it is for economic reasons the right thing to do. If we can produce now electricity from solar for 2 cents per kilowatt hour in the right areas, then of course we are not only talking about the right thing for saving the world from climate change, but as well the right thing for getting cost-effective electricity. But we should, thank you so very much, but we should not forget that we are facing an extremely complex, big task in front of us. We have all these fantastic plans, but of course, we as well raise the resistance of very powerful global stakeholders. We should be aware of that. And therefore, it is really very heartening for me to experience what we experienced in the last 3 days here in India, to have such an important, powerful country and such a large fraction of the world population really going decisively in this direction. Because our task ahead is to push the transformation of the global energy system fast enough that we can reduce CO2 emissions quickly enough to avoid horrible effects of global climate change. And I'm afraid the most horrible effects of global climate change we don't know yet, and our climate specialists can't tell us yet. We only know it will be horrible. Just as an example, as an effect of global climate change now, big weather conditions don't move as fast as they did in the past. In Texas, in the United States, this summer, in 2 weeks, a heavy rain simply stopped, didn't move, and we had 1.20 meter water level across the whole country. 1.20 meter, you can have a good swimming pool, you know? So these are effects of global climate change which the climatologists did not predict, and I really hope that we will be all successful in working together, in implementing what is economically the right thing to do so that we are able to avoid these effects. And I'm really looking forward to have India now as one of the powerful engines behind this process. I come from Germany, and Germany has a lot of technology to offer. This will be a very good collaboration, and actually what can come out of India can be beneficial for the whole world. So thank you so much for inviting me to come here, and I hope you all share with me this vision that we really not only have to do what is good economically, but we have to do it very fast in order to help solve the climate problem. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Machu Picchu is the name often comes to our mind when we think of Peru. Besides Machu Picchu, Peru has vast renewable energy sources, fairly large amount of hydro. They also have wind, solar, and geothermal. The government of Machu Picchu has committed to reduce 30% of greenhouse gases by 2030. Peru is also planning a World Sun Expo by end of next year. I invite His Excellency Francisco Mezzano, Minister of Energy and Mines, Peru, to address the audience.
Good afternoon. Shri R.K. Singh, Minister of State for Power and New Renewable Energy, Government of India. Shri Piyush Goyal, Minister for Railways and Coal, Government of India. Members of the panel. Shri Upendra Tripathi, Director General of ISA. Ladies and gentlemen, it's my absolute pleasure to be here on behalf of the Peruvian government, and I would like to greet all participants of the second edition Reinvest 2018. Peru is very proud to be part of the ISA initiative and to help promote the use of renewable energies, which not only reduce pollution in our planet, but also allow, through their technology, to bring electricity to people who live in isolated areas, which in turn favors their development and well-being. We face a great opportunity to change things. Nearly 1.2 billion people globally do not have access to electricity. In Peru, around 400,000 families lack this basic service. To this, we must add climate change and its effects on our planet. For these reasons, the member countries of ISA have a great opportunity and responsibility to implement initiatives that allow us to change this harsh reality. We are aware that there is much yet to be done to overcome said scenario, making it all the more necessary to continue working together to allow for a massive deployment of solar energy through exchange of experiences, all the rich experience that we see before, reducing the cost of financing, sharing existing technologies, and continuing their development. This, in turn, will pave the way for the future of solar energy to be included and adapted to the needs of people and environmental care. How Peru wants to be part of this initiative. Peru has an immense renewable energy resources in the form of hydroelectric, wind, solar, geothermal energies, as well as biomass. In that sense, at present, the government of Peru is working on a regulatory framework to encourage investments in renewable energies, with the intention of reaching 15% of the energy matrix coming from non-conventional renewable resources by 2030. We have already made good progress. For example, by September 2019, less than a year from now, 200,000 solar panels will have been installed nationwide, providing thousands of low-income families with electricity through a basic service that guarantees the operations and maintenance of installed systems. This is the first massive installation program of photovoltaic systems implemented by the state to directly supply electricity to its populations located in rural and remote areas, such as the high Andes Mountains and the deep Amazon rainforest. Thanks to this result, this project is set to become a benchmark of success in Latin America. By 2021, our global goal is that the entire Peruvian population has access to electricity. Currently, we already exceed 80% coverage. Iquitos, the capital of the Loreto region, deserves a special mention. It is a city with a nearly 500,000 inhabitants, located deep in the Amazon rainforest and surrounded by pristine national reserves, therefore not connected to the national interconnected electric system. This, in turn, implies that to have access to electricity, Iquitos has traditionally had to resort to using fossil fuels as diesel. We are happy to share that, as proof of the progress in the implementation of this international alliance, an expert from ISA has recently visited Iquitos to assess its renewable energy potential. He is now preparing a technical study to provide Iquitos with solar energy, which includes the implementation of solar roofs, LED street lighting, solar pumping for water purification, the use of solar sustainable transportation, among other measures. Now, I would like to share with you a short 2-minute video that we have made about the renewable energy potential of Peru. The Peruvian government has taken on a firm commitment to continue pursuing initiatives not only to promote the use of renewable energies as a state policy, as we are convinced that it is the only path that will lead us to minimizing our environmental impact, but also to develop the enormous potential that I have just shown you. Therefore, eager to continue developing and supporting renewable energy applications, and further to my recent appointment as ISA Vice President for the Latin American and Caribbean region, we want to announce that Peru will host the ISA Peru World Sun Meet and Expo to be held in Lima in November next year. With the valuable cooperation of the Ministry of New and Renewable Energy of India and the Confederation of Indian Industry. Finally, I would like to congratulate and thank the government of India for its hospitality and support, as well as the organizers for this important event for their leadership in shaping this platform. We encourage governments, industry, investors, and civil society to continue promoting concrete actions to bring clean energy to all countries that need technological solutions to meet the electricity demand of our populations. I look forward to welcome all of you next year at the ISA Peru World Sun Meet and Expo, where we will work toward this common goal. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Your Excellency. Planning of such a large-scale event involves a lot of exercise and very detailed, in-depth planning. This has been going on for at least, if not more than 6 months. Our Honorable Minister, Mr. R.K. Singh, has been guiding us through the entire process, be it the venue, be it the halls or the sessions, different sessions, the detailed theme of ISA and IORA. Now I request our Honorable Minister, Mr. R.K. Singh, to address us on the conduct of this event and learnings for all of us.
Thank you. Mr. Piyush Goyal, our Honorable Minister for Railways and Coal, His Excellency Francisco Mezzano, the Honorable Minister for Energy and Mines from Peru, Dr. Eric Weber, the Director of Fraunhofer Institute, Mr. Anand Kumar, Secretary MNRE, Mr. Praveen Kumar, the Additional Secretary MNRE, friends, ladies and gentlemen. I'd like to begin by congratulating Anand and his team. The very idea of holding 3 events concurrently was, I think, in retrospect, Anand, a brilliant idea. What it did was, it allowed the policymakers and the thinkers, the scientists, and the businessmen, all the 3 segments of this system, to come together for 3 days at one venue and interact with each other in the RE Invest and here, in the concurrent seminars which happened, the visitors which went round, the different countries which went round. I think that this is a perfect model for getting all the three stakeholders together, that is the thinkers, the policy makers, and those who make it happen, the industry. Congratulations. And it was a brilliant success. It was a brilliant success. All the three segments, the response which we got was amazing. Now the International Solar Alliance, that had the first assembly, this was the first assembly of an intergovernmental international body headquartered in India. It had delegations from 75 countries, out of which 35 were led by honorable ministers. That's a huge number. Then we had the Indian Ocean Rim Association. It had delegations from 17 countries, out of which 9 were led by honorable ministers. We had 77 countries participating in the RE Invest. We had 20,000 footfalls. Over 300 scientists and the experts participated in all the seminars, etc., which happened. I think the very involvement from all over the world says it all. What it says, the message which I get from this is that the world is ready for renewables, that they feel that renewables is the way to go. The world is worried. The world is worried about the environment. And the world wants to do something about it. That is the message which I get from this participation from across the world. Can you imagine? We opened the framework agreement of the International Solar Alliance for signature in Marrakesh on the 15th of November, 2016. And we already have 70 signatures. 70. That's the level of participation. And that was before we opened it. Now in the first assembly, we've opened it now to the rest of the world. Earlier, it was limited to the countries between the tropics of Capricorn and Cancer. Out of 121, 70 countries have already signed. So, I mean, there are still people who don't believe that, the environment is getting damaged or we are having climate change. There are still some people who believe that in the world. I mean, you'll be surprised. But the vast majority of the world believes that we have damaged and we are damaging the environment and that we need to change the way we do things. We need to change the way we generate energy and the way we consume energy. We need to reduce our emissions and we need to do it fast. Now, this is something which our country recognized. Now, mind you, I mean, in our country, the position is different. I mean, it's totally different from the position in Germany or Europe or wherever, because they have already reached a level of development. I mean, their per capita consumption of electricity is already very high. I mean, it must be about 5 times, 6 times ours. We still have to reach there. And that will take energy. Therefore, our energy consumption will grow. It has to grow, because if I have to bring up the standard of living of our people, which we have to do, then our energy consumption will grow. It will double, it will triple. So our position is different. Now, despite that, our country decided that by 2030, 40% of our established capacity will be from renewables. Now, let me tell you this. That's actually already 33%. We've done that in this short period between COP21 and now. It's actually about 33%. If you add hydro, which is about 46 gigawatts, and the other renewables, solar and wind, which is 72 gigawatt, that makes it 118, which is actually 33% of our total installed capacity, 345 gigawatts. So we'll cross that 40%, and by a margin. And we already have about 20 gigawatts under installation, and another 28 gigawatts bidded out. So we'll cross that by a margin. But this was a very courageous step which we took as a country, which our Prime Minister took. Now we took the lead in two things. Not only this, in commitments for our country's, the targets for reduction of emissions. We said that we'll reduce our emissions by 33 to 35% from the 2005 levels by 2030. That's quite a bit. While at the same time growing. Because as I said, we have to grow. The good thing is that the price of renewables has come down. But it has come down because we have provided the market. And we'll continue to provide the market. So we are committed. What surprised me was the level of commitment which I saw in the rest of the world. A large number of countries wanted us to open it up, open the International Solar Alliance for membership by other countries, lying beyond the tropics of Cancer and Capricorn. We've opened it up, the Assembly decided that, and now we'll have many more members. Now, this, we thought, we were quite comfortable in our progress. We were almost, Your Excellency, becoming complacent. We were saying that we are going to achieve our target, we are going to cross our target. When actually on the 2nd, we were given another challenge by the Prime Minister. Now he loves giving challenges to us. We were given a huge challenge. And now that has become the objective. And the challenge is one sun, one world, one grid. Can you believe it? Now, and we are taking it seriously. We are taking it seriously. At the first sight, one sort of thinks that, how is that possible? But I was discussing with my colleague from Myanmar, the Honorable Minister from Myanmar. Now, we are in discussions with them for taking our grid to Myanmar. They want us to do that. We'll be doing that. And then I mentioned this to him, the Prime Minister's challenge. He said it's feasible. He said that Myanmar and Laos are already in discussion for connecting their grid. And Laos already has a connection with Thailand. Now imagine, if I connect to Myanmar, I am connected to Thailand. So it's not so difficult as it seems, prima facie. And what will happen is that when, it's still night here, it will be morning in Thailand. And we can start getting solar energy from there. And by the time we get the sun in Rajasthan, it will be dark in Thailand. So we can export solar energy at that time. So this is very feasible. But that is the challenge, that is the vision which has now come before us. And it's a very interesting vision. Even before this, when we set the goals for ourselves, the Prime Minister already had this in mind. He had brotherhood of the sun in mind when he announced this formation of the ISA, when he asked all the countries between the tropics of Cancer and Capricorn to get together. That was it. That was the vision. That let all of us come together to make this affordable, to make this feasible and practical. Now, it has become affordable, but we still have challenges, major challenges. The Indian Ocean Rim Association Delhi Declaration, which we passed yesterday in our meeting here of all the IORA member countries, mentions some of those challenges. One challenge, of course, is balancing. Now, that brings into focus storage. I mean, we have enough hydro and thermal to do the balancing. We are going in for flexibilization of thermal. And we've already passed a regulation saying that, you can go down to 55%. That we have made, applicable to all the central generating units. Now we are going to make it applicable to all the state generating units. And we have hydro. But at the same time, we'll need battery. We will need instantaneous response. If the grid penetration of renewables is going to be 40%, we'll need instantaneous response, which can only come from battery storage. So we have to make that affordable. And we have another ambition. And that other ambition is electric mobility. And we'll get there. We will convert our mobility to electric mobility. There's a strategic reason for doing this. I mean, we are heavily dependent upon imports of fossil fuels. And we see as to what is happening with the change in the relative prices of the dollar and the rupee, and with the reduction in production in OPEC, we see what is happening. Now, we want to insulate ourselves from this. We want to ensure that this does not happen again in the future. And for that, we will make a concerted effort as a country to reduce our dependence on petroleum, on fossil fuels. And therefore, we will go electric insofar as mobility is concerned. Now, that requires storage. And therefore, I believe that the demand for storage which India is going to generate is going to bring the prices of the battery prices down. The last bid, I believe, the battery price was $160 per kilowatt hour. Now that has come down. That's, it started at almost 500. Now it's 160. I believe it will come down further to 80 or 70. And then we are in business. But we are going to drive that. We are going to drive that by creating the demand. So I'm going to add storage to future bids. Now people tell me, my advisors tell me that this will push up the prices. I think we'll have to sort of take that. We'll have to take that in our stride right now. And we can begin by adding half an hour of storage in the beginning and then we increase it to 1 hour, so that the immediate response is there. And we'll have to have battery storage as a balancing element at the controller level, at the grid level, so that our grid controller, that has a battery storage system of maybe 1,000 megawatts or whatever, so that we have instantaneous response to any fluctuation in the grid frequency. We have one grid for the country, for the entire country. And therefore, I think this has to be done at the grid level. So that is the next challenge which is there before us. And cumulatively, as all the other countries join us in our mission to reduce the fossil fuels consumption and to reduce our emissions, cumulatively, I think renewables is going to become the mainstream, and fossil fuels are going to be phased out. And that is necessary for mankind, I believe. The questions like this help in our journey. We are at the beginning of a new world. A world where there are no fumes, where our eyes do not water in winter, where children do not get asthma at the age of 1 year and 2 years and 3 years because of breathing foul air. We are at the cusp of that world. So it all takes some fine-tuning. It will take some fine-tuning. And in that fine-tuning, it is these meetings like these, conferences like this, these which are important. As far as we are concerned, we are committed. And we are committed for the environment, but there's another reason, actually. India is today has one of the fastest growing energy demands in the world. My electricity demand is growing at 6.5%. No country's energy demand is growing at that level. No country of that size. And the reason is that we are adding 36 million new consumers, out of which we've already added about 16 million. I have to add another about 20 million new consumers. And I have to do it in the next 3-4 months. My economy is growing at 7.5%. You add that, the per capita incomes are growing. Now, all that is translating into demand, galloping demand of electricity. And therefore, I need to install capacity as fast as possible. All the businessmen there, all the industries here, please take note. I need to establish capacity as fast as possible. And therefore, renewables will come in, and it will come fast. We are not going to slow down, we are going to accelerate. And the competition is also going to increase. Because as India is emerging as a big market, more and more companies from all over the world are coming here. And they're all invited. They're all invited because we want competition and we want capacity. But I think this was a great event, Anand. Well done to you and the entire team. Thank you all of you for coming here and for making this a success. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. I can assure you that both our ministry, that is New and Renewable Energy, and Ministry of Power will sit together and definitely work out some of the structures which will, in shortest possible of time, realize the goal set by our Honorable Prime Minister. Now, the first RE Invest was organized under his leadership. Today, the events which we see unfolding were conceived during his time. May I now invite Honorable Piyush Goyal, Minister for Railways and Coal, Government of India, to address all of us.
Thank you very much, Bhanu. His Excellency, Mr. Francisco Ismoes Mesano, Honorable Minister of Energy and Mines from Peru. My brother, colleague in the Union Council of Ministers, and the ever-vibrant, energetic, and passionate Minister for Power and Renewable Energy, Mr. R.K. Singh. An old friend with whom I've had occasion to speak at a conference way back in November 2014, Mr. Ike Weber, who also handled the Fraunhofer Institute and a lot of innovative work in the field of renewable energy in Germany. Our colleague and senior leader of the renewable energy sector, somebody who actually held our hand just like a father figure and taught us what renewable energy is all about. Somebody I think who would give an arm and a leg for renewable energy and promoting renewable energy, Upendra Tripathi, the Director General of International Solar Alliance. My colleague, again somebody who brought a lot of dynamism into the Renewable Energy Ministry, Secretary Anand Kumar, Additional Secretary Praveen Kumar. Of course, I see a lot of colleagues from the renewable energy sector here today. Without taking everybody's names, I must say that it's a sense of homecoming for me to be amongst all of you distinguished ladies and gentlemen. A warm, warm thank you to all of you who have participated in the renewable energy sector in the Reinvest Conference 2018, and to all the distinguished delegates both from India and abroad. In some sense, I think this conference, and the second one at that, is not about investment alone. While certainly this is Reinvest 2018, I was thinking about what this conference has brought to the table. I was trying to read some of the daily news letters. I was trying to run through the various agendas that were discussed over the last 3 days. And if we include the opening session where the Honorable Prime Minister spoke since 2nd of October, I think this conference has been, in some sense, also a rejuvenation of the entire sector. In a way, this conference has also discussed various ways to reform all that we have done so far in the renewable energy sector. Probably a lot of plans have been reworked during the course of the last 3-4 days. You must have reviewed all your strategies to take this to the next level. I'm sure a conference of this scale and dimension will recharge all the stakeholders in the renewable energy space. This should repower the efforts that all of you are putting in. In a way, it reminds all of us of our commitment towards a better future, a better tomorrow for the young generation. I can go on and on about what we can do about the word re, but let's hope the Renew or Reinvest 2018 will help us rewrite history. And when, maybe a few decades from now, people look back and see how this journey started, I think this grand program, the huge exhibition, the 20,000 delegates, the participation of probably over 70 countries, 40 ministers coming for the ISA Ministerial General Assembly, all of this put together will be written in golden words as the takeoff point from which renewable energy entered the next phase of development. Somewhat like when you are launching a satellite, after the initial thrust that is given, it detaches from the past and then gets into the orbit and flies high, soaring away into the atmosphere, probably trying to reach the sun. And in some sense, that's the kind of goal Prime Minister Modi has given Mr. Singh when he talks about one world, one sun and one grid. And I wish you very well in all your efforts, in all the efforts of this entire team. I remember at one point of time, there was an empire which used to claim that the sun never sets on that empire. India will provide the future where we will provide inspiration to future generations to create one grid around the world so that the sun never sets when it comes to generating power and feeding the millions and millions and millions of people's energy needs. And I do look forward to a day when we can have transmission lines crisscrossing continents and oceans so that the sun can become the primary source of energy. Not coal, not oil, not natural gas. It'll be the sun, it'll be wind, it'll be hydropower, it'll be bio-waste, it'll be waste to energy. All of these renewable energy sources actually becoming the source of energy, actually becoming the source which will ensure wheels of development, of progress in a net zero or a carbon-free world that we are all looking to achieve. I wish all of you the very best in these efforts to achieve these very ambitious goals. And certainly, I believe that these goals are very much doable. I have yet to come across any target, any aspiration, which cannot be achieved. And given the leadership that you have in your sector, I'm quite confident the dynamism we've seen in the last year, the rapid progress, where we have almost doubled the country's renewable energy generating capacity, added 72 gigawatts in a short span of time, and are planning to take it up to the next level in a very, very rapid speed. I'm sure this collective effort of this team will make this happen and will ensure success in this very, very important program for this government. Very often we say solar is transforming India. In some sense, I believe India has also transformed the solar energy sector across the world. I dare say it was the rapid and expansive thrust that was given to solar energy by Prime Minister Modi, particularly when he scaled up our ambition to expand solar energy from 2.5 gigawatt to 100 gigawatt, which is 40 times by 2022. He actually showed the world what economies of scale and rapid and transformational journey to achieve big goals can lead to. The completely transparent, equal opportunity and corruption-free auctions that the renewable energy sector introduced in India has not only helped drive down prices of solar energy to below thermal or coal-based power costs, but has actually helped the entire world bring down energy costs, given the achievements of the solar power industry in India, and given the fact that the world today sees a huge opportunity, sees volumes becoming so big that one can actually produce power at extremely competitive prices. And I must compliment all of you stakeholders in this sector to have made this happen, to have given a run for money, both to Mr. Singh in his job as a power minister, handling the thermal power sector also, and to me, trying to figure out what will happen to coal in the years ahead. But as they say, I don't know, you must have all heard of the acronym BHAG, BHAG. A lot of people in the world today are running away from the real problems of climate change. I don't want to get into a diplomatic spat, so I will avoid any particular individual references. The minister, the word Bhag in Hindi stands for run. And there are two ways to look at running. One is that you can run away from a problem, as some people and some countries are doing. And the problem I'm addressing here is climate change. And another is to run, to achieve good results, to address the problem. And I must say, India has chosen the path of running to achieve big, hairy, audacious goals. BHAG, big, hairy, audacious goals. And actually make a difference to the future of the planet, future of the world. And not get deterred by any obstacles, any complications that may come up in our ambition to leave behind a better planet for the next generation. In some sense, India has embarked on probably the world's largest ramp-up of renewable energy ever witnessed in the past. And we are not going to stand on this. We are hoping that this will only be the base on which we will rapidly expand further so that we can become largely a renewable energy-driven power sector. We do believe going forward, costs of battery and storage are going to become more affordable. And clearly, I do hope it doesn't become what Tony Seba says, that power will be available free of charge and may actually be sold on the corner store in small units available like your mobile talk time. But clearly one can see that the days of expensive power are going to be over going forward. Power is going to become more and more affordable. Minister Singh has embarked on probably one of the world's most ambitious program, Saubhagya, by which he hopes to ensure, and I don't think he hopes, he's committed to ensure that every single willing consumer, every household in this country gets electricity in the next 3 or 4 or 5 months. And clearly the progress that is being made on that and the enthusiasm with which the entire country has adopted the Saubhagya Yojana, I am convinced that he's going to be 100% successful. And I wish you and all your colleagues well in this very, very major initiative. To my mind, for us in India, renewable energy comes very naturally. We have been a nation which has always been very conscious of avoiding waste. We believe that the kind of wasteful use of energy across the world, along with large amounts of waste generated in different forms. I mean, it could be a simple thing like an uneaten pizza, which ultimately is causing damage to the environment. After all, that pizza was dough made somewhere or the other, a pizza cooked somewhere or the other, ingredients transported from one place to the other. If one looks at the entire ecosystem, every element of waste, it could be energy waste with buildings all over the world, whether it's Manhattan, whether it's Tokyo, whether it's Sydney, whether it's London, brightly lit 24 hours a day, whether it's day or night, despite the fact that the sun may be streaming in. We put Venetian blinds and block the sun and put on lights in the day hours. In the night, nobody may be working in offices, but you have tall 100-story buildings brightly lit up, possibly because it looks nice. But all of this waste, and waste in every form, it could be food waste, it could be plastic waste, it could be the tons and tons and tons of garbage that we are generating all over the world. All of this waste is damaging the world, is harming society, is harming the human race. And I believe we in India have a duty to show the world a new path, a path that is not something new to us, a path that we have inherited from our ancestors, a part that is very much a part of our heritage, a part of our culture, a part of our tradition, where waste was looked down upon. I remember as a child, I could never walk out of my room, leaving the lights or the air conditioning on without being taunted by my mother or by my brother. That, hey, just go right back and switch off the lights, switch off the fan, turn off the computer. I think we need to bring back that consciousness, not only in India, but across the world, towards waste. I think we celebrate Energy Conservation Day sometime in December, 4th or 5th or 6th of December. And I would urge upon you, Minister Singh, that this year, let us take a massive campaign across the country. And if we can engage with other partner countries around the world, can we make this a year where we remind the world that each form of waste adds up to huge amount of cost, not only economic cost, not only social cost, but a huge human cost. And I think no better year than the year when we are starting to celebrate the 150th birth anniversary of the father of the nation, Mahatma Gandhi, somebody who symbolizes simplicity, somebody who symbolizes cleanliness, somebody who would not let a speck of waste in his whole life, to the extent that he had a rule that he would not leave one speck of grain on his plate uneaten. To the extent he would not wear one shred of clothing more than essential. To the extent he would not waste one sip of water beyond what was needed, whether it was for sanitation, whether it was for consumption, whether it was to bathe, whether it was to wash his clothes, which he did himself. No better role model than Mahatma Gandhi for this nation to follow, and no better opportunity than the year 2018-19 to bring back that vision, that passion that Mahatma Gandhi ji had, to put an end to waste, wasteful consumption, wasteful expenditure. And I think if we can bring back that spirit in the next generation also, we will truly be doing service not only to our motherland but to the world at large. Prime Minister Modi has very recently been honored by the United Nations, the highest environment honor that they could give as champions of the earth. Somebody who's really worked hard to bring back the consciousness about the environment. Somebody who, when the world was talking about the inconvenient truth, actually penned down his thoughts about convenient action. Somebody who believes that it doesn't make sense crying over spilled milk or sitting in your office or your home and pointing fingers at somebody else, but who believes that let us be the change that we want to see in the world. Somebody who was willing to buy solar power even at 17 rupees, which is close to 25 cents, way back when he was Chief Minister of Gujarat, realizing full well that in the initial period, even if we have to pay more, somebody will have to kickstart the mission. Somebody will have to bite the bullet, knowing full well that there will be a day when volumes will come in, when products will be made in India, where economies of scale will come in, where innovation will prevail. And when he announced the 100 gigawatt target way back in 2015 or end of 14, I believe he had the vision to see that India will lead the world in its journey towards renewable energy, and India will show the way of cost effectiveness in making a program successful, making a program economically viable, making a program stand on its own feet without subsidy, and showing the world that what is good for India is good for the world and is good for all humanity. I think no better example of the success of Prime Minister Modi's vision. And I would say in some sense, I have at least been a management student, I've been an accountant and investment banker. Mr. Singh has been a bureaucrat with long years, and I see a lot of persons from trade, business and industry here. But it took somebody born in a remote village in Gujarat, from a humble background, selling tea at a railway station while he was a young lad, studying in an ordinary school with no great gadgets, learning under a kerosene lamp or possibly a street light if there were any at Vadnagar, to be able to visualize what a simple LED bulb can do to the nation, can do for the world. And the fact that he embarked on a mission to change the entire country's lighting from the old incandescent power guzzler bulbs to LED bulbs, and set an ambitious goal to save 40,000 crore rupees of our Indian consumers' electricity bills, reduce the power consumption significantly in all our homes, bring down the wasteful use of electricity to light street lights, homes, offices, factories, set another hairy, audacious goal of replacing 770 million bulbs in a short span of 4 years. It was a visionary Prime Minister Modi who set that goal, and I think it was the nation of 1.3 billion people who adopted that. And I was reading this morning on your Ujala mobile app that not only has EESL, the Energy Efficiency Services Limited, been able to cross the 30 million target themselves, but the private sector has chipped in with about 910 million LED bulbs sold so far. Collectively, 1.2 billion, 300 million is what EESL has sold. 900 million is what the private sector has sold. And 1.21 billion LED bulbs have been sold in India. And 4 years are not yet over from the time we sold the first LED bulb on 1st of May 2015. 3 years and 6 months down the road, the target of 770 has been exceeded by all of you. The collective effort of Mr. Singh, his team and the people of India to replace 1.21 billion LED bulbs, bring down the cost by nearly 87% in this short period. And as many countries have been saying, India actually has led, I'm not playing a pun on the LED, but clearly we have led the world's efforts to make LED a household product, to make LED affordable across the world, and more parts of the world are now moving towards ambitious targets on replacing old lighting by LED lighting. I can only compliment Minister Singh and the entire team in the Renewable Energy Ministry and all the stakeholders in this sector for all the good work that you have done. While concluding, I would just like to offer my humble contribution towards your efforts to promote renewable energy, to add Indian-made products into India, and suggest that the Railways and the Renewable Energy Ministry work together on a program where we can assure over the next 5 years a 10 gigawatt procurement by the Indian Railways of solar power with made in India products only. As India respects WTO, without falling foul of any WTO, the railways being a government entity can procure only made in India products, can stipulate only made in India procurement of 10 gigawatts in the next 5 years. If you want to make it longer, we can make it 20 gigawatts in the next 15 or 20 years, which we will assure to pick up. We can run a transparent program, a transparent bid, invite participants from India and all over the world to come and set up manufacturing in India and give an assured offtake for the Indian Railways, which we will use ourselves. And my desire is that in the next 10 years, the Indian Railways, of course, we will be converting to 100% electricity, and it will be the world's first railway of the size of the Indian Railways. There's no comparable example. Even the United States has only 2% railway running on electricity. The rest is all diesel. India will be the world's first large railway system, which will be 100% electric. In the next 5 years, and in the next 10 years, we want to make the Indian Railways a net zero emitter of carbon. And I invite all of you to participate in this, I hope, another audacious goal. And let us work together, Mr. Singh, Mr. Anand, Praveenji, Bhanu, and your entire team. Let's show the world that what India can do is unparalleled. Let us lead the world to the next level of clean energy. Let us show the world that we in India care for the world, care for humanity, and we are committed to leaving behind for the next generation, for all the young boys and girls in this room, a better future, a better planet. Thank you.
Thank you, sir, so much for your inspiring words. And I can assure you that sir, whether it is 5 gigawatt or 10 gigawatt, the ministry will, for the railway solar electrification plant, we'll come out with a scheme faster than what you expect. So thank you so much for your inspiring words, sir. A quiz competition was organized at HRD Pavilion. 20 student groups participated, out of which 5 groups were declared winner. These were Surabhi Education Society, Hyderabad, Society for Education and Environment Training, Fun Fest Global Skill, National Power Training Institute, and Indraprasth Skill Initiative, Delhi, from Delhi. May I request Honorable Minister, Mr. R.K. Singh, to give prizes to the first and second. May I request Surabhi Educational Society and Society for Educational and Environment Training to come up the stage and receive their awards. Okay, I am sorry. So I mean, we can at best compliment them. Now, before we conclude, and I invite Additional Secretary MNRE for vote of thanks. I'll request Secretary MNRE to give mementos to our dignitaries on the dais. I request Anand Kumar sir to give memento to Honorable Minister of Energy and Mines, Peru. Request Anand Kumar sir to give memento to Professor Weber. Now I'll request Additional Secretary to propose a vote of thanks.
Shri Piyush Goyal, Honorable Minister for Railways. Shri R.K. Singh, Honorable Minister for New and Renewable Energy and Power. His Excellency Mr. Francisco Mazzano, Minister of Energy and Mines, Peru. Shri Anand Kumar, Secretary, Ministry of New and Renewable Energy. Professor Dr. Ike Weber, Director, Fraunhofer Institute. Distinguished speakers, delegates from India and abroad, members of industry and business, representatives from sister ministries in Government of India and state governments, dear friends of media, students, ladies and gentlemen. It is a great privilege for me to propose a vote of thanks at this valedictory session of the three events: the first ISI Assembly, the second IORA Ministerial Meet, and the second Reinvest Investment Meet and Expo. We are overwhelmed by the enthusiastic response to this triple event. At the outset, I would like to express our deepest gratitude to our Honorable Prime Minister of India, who has been a guiding force for spearheading the renewable revolution, not only in India, but across the world. We are thankful to him for giving the sector a motto and a vision: one world, one sun, one grid. We would like to make a solemn assurance that we will be putting all efforts in translating this vision into reality. I would like to thank His Excellency Mr. Antonio Guterres, the UN Secretary General, who took time out from his busy schedule to grace the inaugural session. This is a reflection of the importance the United Nations accords to the renewable energy transition. I would like to express my sincere gratitude to Honorable Minister for Railways, Shri Piyush Goyal, for gracing this occasion, reflecting on his continuous commitment to this sector. And a special thanks for the proposal to buy 10 gigawatt of power, renewable power, from solar energy. Sir, you are a source of inspiration to us. The inspiring leadership of Honorable Minister for New and Renewable Energy and Power, Shri R.K. Singh, was the fundamental reason that we could aspire towards organizing 3 concurrent events on this scale. Sir, we owe the success of this event to you. His Excellencies ministers from ISA IORA countries were the reasons for holding these events. I would like to convey our sincere thanks to each of the Excellencies and members of the country delegations. And also accept my special thanks to His Excellency Mr. Francisco Mazzano, Minister of Energy and Mines, Peru, and Professor Weber, Director, Fraunhofer Institute, for gracing this occasion. I would also like to express my thanks to the Honorable Lieutenant Governor of Andaman and Nicobar Islands and Honorable Chief Ministers of Himachal Pradesh and Puducherry for participating in the Chief Minister's plenary. And a special thanks is due to the Honorable Minister of Energies of States who participated in the events with empowered delegations. A special thanks and heartfelt gratitude is due to our beloved Secretary, Shri Anand Kumar ji. In him, we got a leader who not only gave the big picture, but also provided the minutest of embellishments, which are critical in separating an ordinary event from a spectacular one. We not only could not have moved forward without you, but this was also an opportunity for us to learn a lot on how to achieve perfection and how not to compromise on a suboptimal product on grounds of exigencies. I would also like to take this opportunity to thank the entire team of Ministry of External Affairs, with a special thanks to Shri Tirumurthy, Secretary, ER, and the 2 joint secretaries, Shri Vinod Jacob and Shri Sanjay Panda, who made the ISA and IORA sessions possible. I would fail in my duty if I do not express our gratitude to Mr. Upen Tripathi, Director General ISA, and his entire team in the ISA Secretariat. Similarly, our thanks is due to the IORA Secretariat. Without their support, the 2 pillars of this 3-component event would not have been successful. Similar gratitude is due to other system ministries and Government of India organizations who played a varied roles in making the event a success. A special mention is due to the Delhi Police and related organizations for providing foolproof security to the dignitaries. Similarly, I would like to extend our gratitude to the District Administration of Gautam Budh Nagar District, especially the District Magistrate Shri Singh and SSP Shri Jaiswal. The fact that so many high-level dignitaries could participate in this conference without any incident reflects on their competence and planning. I am happy to inform that we have received commendable feedback on the quality of speakers. It has not only raised the quality of deliberations, but were also instrumental in giving a special character to the conference. A special mention is due to the Renewable speakers, Mr. Masayoshi Son, Mr. Sonam Wangchuk, Mr. Ajay Singh, and Mr. Suman Sinha, who gave a new and unique flavor to the conference. I would also like to thank all the delegates and visitors who were the soul of the events, and without whom the conference could not have achieved the desired impact. A special mention is due to the various sponsors of the event, whose contributions went a long way in making the event possible. Exhibitors from India and abroad exhibited the latest developments in the renewable sector. Heartfelt thanks to all of them. We thank the media for the constant and enthusiastic coverage. Without you, the renewable story could not have reached the masses. Partner organizations CII and IRIDA deserve a special thanks. They took all the load and worked tirelessly to make the event a success. They often took the brunt of our ire with a smile on their faces. Our special thanks to Shri Popli of IRIDA and Ms. Soma Banerjee of CII. I would also like to thank the CII vendors, and a special mention is due to ICE and his head Shri Naveen, who was responsible for all the setting of all the facilities you see here. A blank hall was converted into a conference and exhibition place due to his efforts. Our thanks also to Shri Sudeep, IML CEO, for making the space available to us for his advice and guidance, and for the good food he served to all the delegates for 3 days. Last but not the least, I will thank the officials of the Ministry of New and Renewable Energy who worked day and night tirelessly to make the event successful. I wish I could list all the names here, but paucity of time prevents me from doing so. All of us know who all of us who worked so hard, so we need not thank ourselves, so I am not listing the names. In organization of such an event, there are numerous contributors, some of whose names I might have omitted inadvertently. My sincere thanks to all such people, and apologies for omitting my name by the names by mistake. Once again, my heartfelt thanks to all of you. Hope to see all of you in the next Reinvest next year. Thank you.